London Underground workers gathered this week to hear RMT and TSSA leaders outline the case for strike action over 800 job cuts. Workers had already voted overwhelmingly for action, and the meeting came just hours before the unions announced that the first joint walkout will begin on Monday, September the 6th.
We all know that there's 800 jobs already. If management get their way, they want to get rid of those 800. And as we all know in this room, that's the tip of the iceberg. They've got a further review coming up in October, a financial review. And they'll be talking about 25% cuts. And when you work out that 75% of their budget is in manpower, then it doesn't take a genius to work out where they actually fall. That translates roughly to 1 in 4 jobs. Now, we're an industrial union, and we defend all our members equally. We have to stress that just because stations are in the firing line now doesn't mean that the other grades won't be coming in the firing line very, very soon. I think we showed even in a recession, if workers are prepared to fight and workers are prepared to organise, then victories can be won. We've just won a victory on London Underground Engineering, where they tried to change all the rosters and make a load of job cuts. We've won a similar one on tube lines, where they tried to do 530 jobs. Not only that, but we've got a 4.2% pay rise as well for everybody. That was in the middle of a recession. And we've done the same thing in Ostrom down at Stratford, where we got people £3,000 pay rises. So when people are organised and they're willing to fight and they're willing to stand up for themselves, victories can be won in any sort of economic environment. And that's what people have got to learn in the leadership of the TUC and the other unions in this country. It's not that the members won't fight, but if the leadership don't give them a call to fight, of course they're not going to fight. That's what leaders are elected for, to give a lead. And I think Bob Crow and Jerry Doherty tonight can give that lead, or start to give that lead at least in London Underground. 800 jobs, if it only was 800 jobs. Don't tell me that taking 800 jobs out of the underground doesn't affect quality of service, and don't tell me that taking 800 jobs out of the underground doesn't affect safety, because I've been around the transport industry for far too long to know what 800 jobs coming out of an industry like this actually means. We can either stand on our feet together and fight this. We can be in that vanguard that I spoke about. We can lead the fight back against cuts, not just against the Tory government, but against Boris, who's been two-faced in all of this, because he was actually against the reduction in booking offices when he was looking for Londoners' votes. Or we can take the other one. We can sink to our knees and allow ourselves to be taken out bit by bit by bit, because that's what we'll be getting, salami slicing of jobs. And if we don't all stand up right at the front of this and say we are not having it, we're not reducing safety, we're not reducing quality of service, we are going to fight this. We are up for the fight. It will be a long, hard fight. Are you up for it? Yeah!
We've got the Olympics coming up. They expect us to all pull together to deliver the transportation of literally hundreds of thousands of people across London smoothly. You'll be hailed as the heroes of the success of the Olympics if that happens. But they're not willing to either employ people properly to do that, or to pay them properly, and they're willing to sack people in advance of that. We've got to explain to them very, very clearly, if you want this city to run smoothly, you need people on stations. You need people in ticket offices. You need people who are there to ensure the smooth running of our transport system, but above all else, its safety. You need us, almost you need us more than we need you if it comes to it. This is absolutely critical dispute. People outside now are beginning to become aware of just how important it is for our transport system. Transport workers know how it is important to them for their jobs in the future. And I think it's absolutely critical we win this one. And I'm convinced that we can. And I always tell you, and whether it's in Parliament or on the picket line, I'll be with you. Solidarity.
I think our simple message is pretty clear here tonight. It's a fantastic meeting here tonight. And it's not being derogatory. A lot of people are working, a lot of people have got child commitments and one thing and another. But we've got to get to the over 17,000 people that are not here tonight. They're the people we've got to get to. And tomorrow morning, the Executive Committee will name dates, they will name the action, we will put the action on. It'll be jointly between RMT and TSSA, there'll be a joint press statement go out, and it'll be joint together. We'll be joint on the picket lines, and we get a joint deal eventually when they back off, and we'll go back to work in victory. Because I'll tell you something now, brothers and sisters, and I'll finish up with this, because it's more important that you get your comments off your chest for us to take on board as well. This ain't about, at the end of the day, turn around and say, well, can we win or can't we win? The reality is this, the 100% question, and I don't say anyone can give us any different answer, that if you don't fight this, you've lost. That's the reality of it. Anything more than that, you may get a victory. Now, I can't guarantee that we'll win, but I guarantee one thing, if we don't fight now, we're going to lose these 800 jobs, and they'll turn around in the Broadway and say, well, there ain't much fight in that lot, is there? There ain't much stomach in that lot. Is that all they can do? They can accept 800 jobs, and then they'll be looking for service cuts. It'll be the first one in the morning they knock out, it'll be the last one in the evening they knock out, they'll reduce the amount of weekend services. The reality is we're under the cosh, brothers and sisters. And as a trade union at the end of the day, our job is to defend our members' terms and conditions. And meetings like this give us the opportunity to reaffirm our belief, reaffirm our commitment, and reaffirm our fight for industrial trade unionism on the basis the strong help the weak. What's the point in being a union if you can't help those people who are putting their hands up and asking for assistance? That's what we're doing at the moment in time. That's what we're doing at this moment in time. So RMT and TSSA, TSSA and RMT, grade versus grade, are with each other right away down the piece now. And what will terrify the likes of Johnson, the likes of Duffy and the likes of the rest of the TfL board in this government is two unions that have been opposed to each other for a number of years are standing together to take on the real enemy, and that's TfL, this government, and this old damn